Good evening, Buxton. I'm Nigel Bramley, reporting from the ancient and sun-drenched town of Paphos, Cyprus. Today, I've set aside my meteorological duties to explore the cultural treasures of this Mediterranean marvel. I'm armed with a map, a bottle of water, breathable fabrics, and a cat named Sir Perlot, who appears to have his own itinerary. First stop, the Old Town Market. The Old Town Market is a tapestry of colour and kindness. Palm trees sway above sun-bleached awnings, and the air smells of citrus, spice and possibility. I attempted to order a coffee and accidentally asked for a haircut. The vendor smiled, handed me a frappe and gently moved me into the shade. I purchased a linen shirt that may be a tablecloth and was offered a fig by a woman who said, "You must sit, you are glowing." I sat, I glowed, I thanked her profusely. Stop 2. St. Paul's Pillar. I visited St. Paul's Pillar, where the apostle was allegedly preaching the gospel back in biblical times, possibly got flogged for it. I removed my hat, borrowed, and leaned slightly on the pillar while adjusting my sock. A local priest handed me a leaflet titled, "Please don't touch the holy things." I apologised, offered him a Werther's original. He accepted. The site is serene, Byzantine mosaics, ancient stone, and a hush that feels older than language. A cat sat atop of a nearby column, watching me with the air of a museum curator. I believe I was being judged. Stop 3. Aphrodities Rock. Myth, majesty, slightly moist sandals. Petra tu Romeo rises from the sea like a glamorous scone. Legend says if you swim around it, you'll be blessed by eternal beauty. I considered it, but remembered I hadn't packed my trunks. Instead, I paddled briefly and declared myself mildly radiant. A Cypriot grandmother nearby offered me a towel and a biscuit. I accepted both. The tea was azure blue, the sky cloudless, and the breeze carried the scent of salt and myth. Stop 4. Paphos Archaeological Site. Relics and riddles. The archaeological site is a wonder. Mosaics, ruins, and one amphora that I mistook for an umbrella stand. A guide gently corrected me, handed me some water. I asked if the mosaics were original. He said, "Yes, please sit, somewhere in the shade." I sat beside a column and admired the craftsmanship. The sun played across the stones like memory. I felt humbled, slightly dehydrated, and deeply grateful. Stop 5. Tomb of the Kings. Majesty and mild panic. The tombs of the kings are carved into silence. I wandered respectfully, occasionally startled by cats emerging from shadows like historical footnotes. I asked if one tomb belonged to a king. A guide said no, but they were very important. I nodded and offered him a Werther's original. He declined and gave me a parasol. The tombs are cool, quiet and oddly comforting. I sat there for a while and listened to the wind. It said nothing, but it said it kindly. Stop 6. Paphos Harbour. I ended the day at Paphos Harbour, where the sea sparkled and the traffic made crossing the road feel like a minor act of heroism. I chose Steve's over the Pelican to dine at, not out of preference, but because Sir Perlot appeared to be asleep on one of the chairs at Steve's. Didn't want to let him down. I ordered the halloumi again. That makes 5 times since I've arrived in Cyprus. Once, I think, by accident. It arrived grilled, glorious, and accompanied by unsolicited water and gentle reminder to stay in the shade. The Pelican restaurant does, in fact, have a real pelican. It stared at me. I nodded respectfully. Then, the walk home on the coastal path. I decided to walk back to my hotel apartment near Venus Beach via the coastal path. The sea was a sheet of sapphire, the sky a dome of blue, and the path entirely without shade. I walked slowly like a man being gently poached. Locals passed me on bicycles, mopeds, and once a horse. Each offered me either a wave, a bottle of water, or a concerned look. One man shouted, "You must sit." I waved. I kept walking. I was determined. I was pink. Palm trees lined the horizon. Cats lounged on beaches and benches. The sea whispered encouragement. I arrived at Venus Beach, glowing, grateful, and slightly rearranged. So concludes my cultural ramble through Paphos. I've touched history, tasted cheese, and been gently hydrated, once again by strangers. Tomorrow I may return to my weather duties, as I have a missed call from the weather station here in Paphos. and obviously Sir Per-a-Lot approves. I remember how to ask for coffee without risking a haircut. I'm Nigel Thistledown Bramley, reminding you to walk slowly, eat halloumi, and if a cat chooses your restaurant, just follow its lead.